The Phillies are back home finally after a 10-game road trip that was absolutely brutal at the end. Tyler Mroz, Heat Ratio Sports. Finally, I get to cover a game where the Phillies play at home. Tonight's one is just going to be a quick one. Tony's live at 6 p.m. on the Heat Ratio Sports Facebook and YouTube, and I believe also on Twitch. He's going live on everywhere. So, Tony at Pike's Pub live, 6 p.m. Not sure if there's going to be a post game. We'll see what time Tony gets done. So, yeah, let's get to it. Phillies not have a good West Coast trip. They lost the series 2-1 to the Mariners. They won 2-3 against the LA Dodgers, and then they wrapped it up in Arizona, losing the 4-game series 3-1. They move on. They play. I wouldn't say an easy. I would never say a team is easy. The Marlins are pretty awful this year. They are 4-3 against them this year, so you would expect them to do better. But this is a very different Marlins team than the last time the Phillies played them. Last time the Phillies played them, the Marlins had Jazz Chisholm, Brian De La Cruz, Josh Bell. They're all gone now. Their best hitter right now is Jake Berger, and he's still a good hitter. But for a team's best hitter, I don't know how I would really say about that. Taijuan Walker, he's making his return to the mound. He was activated off the injured list today. Junior Marte finally optioned to AAA, so I'm sure that's the last we'll be seeing of Marte for quite some time now. But Taijuan Walker, 3-3, 5.60 ERA this year. He's been pretty awful. He got hurt originally in the beginning of the year. Spencer Turnbull came into the rotation. Walker came back, really struggled, but now he's the firm next starter for the Phillies, going up against Valente Belozo. He's only had 4 career starts so far, but he's been pretty good for the Marlins. We'll get into him later. For the lineup, Phillies, Castellanos and JT move spots. Castellanos is batting 6th. JT Realmuto batting 7th now. JT's been in a little bit of a slump since he's been activated off of the injured list since after the All-Star break. So hoping they can swap spots. Castellanos has been one of the Phillies' most consistent hitters since they've gone into this horrible slump. So, maybe that'll do good for JT to be lower in the lineup. And then Bryson Stott batting 5th yet again. Brandon Marsh batting 8th for the second game in a row. For the Marlins, nothing really crazy. You couldn't really recognize a lot of the names on the list. If you're just a casual fan, you will recognize 1 or 2 names. But a name you would recognize if he was in the lineup, he's not in the lineup. Christian Pache. Phillies traded him at the deadline to get Austin Hayes. He was designated for assignment from the Baltimore Orioles. Marlins picked him up. So it's his return to Philly, although he's not actually playing tonight. Who knows? He could come in later in the game, but I'm sure it's either today or tomorrow. Phillies may end up seeing him at some point. Keys to the game. Been hitting on these too. We talk about the bets. We a lot of these things we say about the keys pretty true. So Taijuan Walker, he's the most crucial part of the Phillies. If you have a bad game from Taijuan Walker, it's his first game back, I know. It's also against the Marlins, but it's his first start since June 21st. That's almost 2 months without pitching in the major leagues. And I don't care what team you are, unless you're the Chicago White Sox. If you are a major league pitcher and you haven't seen action in a couple months, there's definitely some concerns. Walker has been having issues with his splitter all season long, so Phillies claim that he's figured out his problem. Got David checking in. Nationals will win against the Phillies in a bounce. I can't agree with that. We'll get into the Nationals on Thursday when they open up their 4-game series against them. But that's definitely going to be a competitive series. Nationals are not a team to mess around with, not really in playoff contention, but they are a young team, and they have been much improved from their past few years where they've been in a rebuild. So they've definitely taken a step forward, and Phillies will see that on Thursday, 4-game series, Thursday through Sunday. Phillies play the Nationals. Another thing is plate discipline. Phillies, especially Nick Castellanos and Trey Turner, they like to swing at the outside pitches. But we mentioned before, Bryson Stott and Brandon Marsh have really been struggling. Brandon Marsh has over a 40% strikeout rate since June 1st, which is almost close to half his at-bat. So it's literally strikeout or nothing for Brandon Marsh. So they're going up against a guy who does like to throw strikeouts, Valente Belozo, 19 strikeouts in 20.2 innings pitched this season. He had an 8 strikeout game against, I believe it was either the Braves or the Reds. He had 8, and then he had 5, one with 2, and then one with none. So he's definitely a guy who can strike you out. And then the Phillies have struck out 6+ times in the 3-game losing streak. They've lost the last 3 to the Diamondbacks. They struck out 6+ times in each of those games. So Belozo's a young, inexperienced pitcher. Do not let him strike you out on balls in the dirt. That's the last thing you want. Take what you can get, take a couple walks, and then wait for their pitch. That's all they have to do. If they wait for their pitches, they are going to be just fine. Just the bullpen. Forget Arizona. Just forget it. They gave up 12 runs. 12 runs in the last 3 games. Granted, 7 of those were from Junior Marte. I understand that, but the bullpen, last game, Kirkering came and gave up a run. Tanner Banks gave up a run. Jose Alvarado gave up 3. Chase Field is just a historically bad place to play for the Phillies, so just forget it. It's in the past. We're not on this West Coast road trip anymore. Phillies are back in Citizens Bank Park, where they're like 15 games above 500 playing in Citizens Bank Park. So, yeah, just forget Arizona. Just forget it. We got Tubes checking in. Home crowd will have the Phillies bats are up. Phillies put up 7+ runs tonight. I could definitely see that. They've been in the slump, and now coming back home, definitely a boost for the morale crowd. Hopefully no standing ovations tonight. That was a one-time thing. That's never happening again. But, yeah, I definitely could see this happening. I absolutely think the crowd's going to have at least somewhat of a huge impact on this team. Al Bohm got on base last game, 29 consecutive games on base, still the longest active streak. So, if tonight he gets to 30 games, maybe he'll break a milestone. Who knows? Stay tuned for the post-game show. Triple play. There's not a triple play tonight because I'm going to let Tony take care of all the bets tonight. I'm sure he's going to have a ton of bets sharing tonight, a lot of live bets during the game as well. So, do have one, though. Did cook up one thing. So again, use code HEAT, get 50% off for the best bets at Win Daily. You sign up tonight and you hit either this bet or some of the other bets that Tony cooks up for you later on tonight, 6 p.m. at Pike's Pub. You could pay it off your first week. So here's what we got. I'll give credit to Tubes. Tubes is 1 for 1 so far on these bets. He gave us the Bryce Harper home run parlay not too long ago. Bryce Harper 2+ total bases, +110. Harper has been hitting the ball great recently. Last game did not do much, but Lourdes Gurriel Jr. robbed him of a catch, Spider-Man style up against the fence. So Bryce Harper 2+ total bases, +110 on DraftKings. I think this, if I was a betting man, I absolutely would bet this. So Bryce Harper again, 2+ total bases at +110. Series I like to do on here. Game 1 on the pregame show of a series. I like to talk about best moments that Phillies have had against this team. So best moments against the Marlins, a division rival. Definitely some great moments. Arguably, we're going to start off with a hot one. Arguably the best moment in Phillies franchise history, besides the World Series wins. Roy Halladay's perfect game. This is how long the Florida Marlins, and they were playing in Sun Life Stadium. So he went 9 innings, no hits, no runs, no walks. Perfect. 11 strikeouts. Roy Halladay. It was May 29th, 2010, against the Marlins. So we'll Taijuan Walker throw a perfect game tonight. I wonder what the odds of that are. I wonder if that. Oh man, could you imagine you randomly place a Taijuan Walker to get a perfect game or a no hitter, and then it happens? The odds on that would be plus like 5,000. They had to be. There's no way. That might even be a little bit low. Next, Phillies stopped Marlins on opening night 20-1. I was at this game, and it was a joy to be at. This was the Phillies lineup for 2018. Cesar Hernandez, Carlos Santana, Scott Kingery, Rhys Hoskins, Abdul Herrera, Mike Calfranco, Aaron Altair, Jorge Alfaro, and starting on the mound, who only gave up 1 run, Vince Velasquez. You remember him? Oh man, that he was like probably the epitome of like dark days. He was probably the number one, like most recognizable name. I remember he had an 12 strikeout game. He had something crazy. But yeah, 20-1 against the Marlins opening night. They won the opening day. Then opening night, the very next night, 20-1. Mike Franco hit a grand slam. First inning, 396 feet. That was a stadium didn't have many people in it. I mean, back then when the Phillies weren't really doing well, they would have maybe 19,000 people, if even that, 11,000. But there was a good like 25,000. It was opening night. A little chilly, but Michael Franco hit a home run. Aaron Altherr hit a grand slam. So that's 2 grand slams. Jorge Alfaro hit one dead center. Remember Jorge Alfaro? We traded him and Sixto Sanchez to get JT Realmuto. Sixto Sanchez on the injured list for the Marlins has not been the greatest for them so far, but Jorge Alfaro against the Marlins, 433 feet dead center. So yeah, that one hit close to home for me being there to see that. And then a recent one, Bryson Stott hitting the grand slam in the wild card round of the postseason last year. No commentary, just the crowd singing his song, and he blasts a grand slam, makes it 7-0, and then that did not matter. That was the end of the series for the Marlins. There was no coming back for that. The Phillies swept them 2-0, which ironically enough, they have 2 games this week. They're going to do that again? I don't know. We like to keep up with the divisional rivals. Mets opening up a 3-game series against the Athletics in New York. I think they play around 7 tonight. Mets coming off, they're on a 3-game losing streak. I believe it's 3 because they just got swept by the Mariners. They got blown out on Sunday Night Baseball. So Mets were really hot. Now it started to cool off. Maybe it's just a Seattle thing with the NL East teams. And then the Braves, they are in game 2 of 4 in San Francisco. They won the game yesterday, 1-0 in extra innings. So Braves caught a game on the Phillies yesterday. Mets did not. Braves are still, I believe it's 7 games behind the Phillies. So crucial. Phillies have 6 home games. They play 6 games against divisional rivals, against the 2 bottom teams in the division. So can't stress enough how important these next 6 games are. As always, post game is most likely live after 10 minutes after the final out. We'll see if Tony's still going. We'll see what time the game gets done. I'll send out a tweet for everyone just to keep everyone in the loop. So again, the bet of the day, Bryce Harper, 2+ total bases at +110 on DraftKings. Taijuan Walker versus Valente Belozo. I hope I'm saying that right. I could hear Tom McCarthy say his name within the first 5 minutes, and I could be completely butchering his name. So I apologize if I am, but based off what I see, that's how I would say it. But I could be completely wrong. We'll see how Tom McCarthy said that's probably the right way. They give all the commentators the correct pronunciation. So we'll see if I was butchering it the whole time or not. Live 10 minutes after the final out, most likely. So Phillies, 2-game series against the Marlins. Do you think they're going to win? What do you expect Taijuan Walker to do? Is he going to be a little bit skittish? Is he going to be throwing the rust off? Or is he going to come out firing, be the best Walker he's been all year? Is it going to be a 2023 Taijuan Walker where he gives up 4 runs, pitches 6 innings, but Phillies score 5, 6, 7 runs, and he gets the win? Because Taijuan Walker had double-digit wins last year. Don't forget that. As much as we would love to say how bad he's been this year, can't forget last year he was one of the league leaders in wins, and he was an all-star the year before that. So Taijuan Walker hopefully still has something in the tank, especially against a weak Marlins team, 3rd worst record in the entire league, 2nd worst in the National League. Only, I think they have 1 less loss than the Rockies, same amount of wins. So again, hopefully see you 10 minutes live after the final out. Catch Tony in about hour and 15 minutes, 6 p.m. to 9:15, 9:30 at Pike's Pub. If you're in the Southampton area, Bucks County, he'll be there at Pike's Pub. So definitely something to be excited for. Tony does a lot of good talks. He's going to have an open mic. So definitely going to be an interesting show. Thank you all so much for watching. Hopefully tonight we can talk about a Phillies win. As always, I've been Tyler Mroz. Thank you everyone for watching. hopefully see you in the stream for Tony's at Pikes Pub, 6 p.m. Enjoy the game, everyone.